Okay, it's been 3 days since we started this experiment, and as you can see, I'll take the top off here so you can get a better view of it. Overall, that clear amber look is now kind of an amber, hazy, and there's no odors or anything of that nature.
Can you step to the side so there's no reflection of the red? No, it's still amber. Okay.
Okay, so you can see that the color is an amber color, but it's definitely got a haze to it, whereas you could see through it before. It was kind of a light amber color, clear. So this is perfect and it's ready to go. It was inside, so it was at an average temperature, probably pretty close to about 70 degrees. And it's probably not going to get much more. It's kind of right at its peak. So the next step is we're going to use the straight. Well, we're just going to put it in our 1 gallon sprayer, which I've got over here. And then we'll just take it down to our ranunculus and we'll apply this as a very light spray over the foliage. It's a little windy out there today, so when we go down to the tunnel, you're gonna have to bear with us on this one.
It's really windy.
It's pretty windy today, but this is something that, you know, we have to do. Again, this is really time sensitive.
Why do we have to do it during the wind today?
Because this is like, it's the same thing as like a Jadam microorganism solution. It has a peak for its best efficiency of what you're trying to accomplish, which is get it onto the leaves and help those leaves absorb the minerals, the nutrients that are in this solution into the plant itself and to give the plant the extra boost. If it goes on further, the solution will eventually become anaerobic. And in a sense, it's fine to put on your compost pile or something of that nature, but it's not going to be as beneficial to the plants. And the more anaerobic it goes, the more you're going to start getting lactic acid buildup in it and things of that nature, which is not where we're trying to go at this point.
So you make it and use it.
Yes, you got to use it right away. So the question that also I'm kind of anticipating here is like, well, why are you doing this now? Which is, we're in the middle of December. Doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, we're at lower light levels. We're still a week away from the shortest day of the year. What's the point? Well, the point on this is, in this particular case, in a normal growing season, I probably wouldn't do it at this point. Matter of fact, I know I wouldn't do it at this point. I would wait till the end of January, till when the light levels are beginning to grow again and the plants are beginning to put on their last big push of vegetative growth. That's typically when I do it on an annual basis, is right on the ranunculus, right about the end of January, about the last week. And this year we're doing it this time because about a week and a half ago, the ranunculus got ambushed by a bunch of deer. And so although we've got the plants back in the ground, there was a number of them that were they were totally, besides being denuded of leaves, they were actually ripped out of the ground. So they have to rebuild their root systems and they have to rebuild their leaves. And the whole point on this is we gave them a little fertilizer about a week ago, and now we're going to give them a little bit of this to help them with minerals, a little extra boost of minerals, and also to help with whatever fertilizers are still available in the soil, that it'll help improve them even more. Some of the plants that were ripped out, I can tell that they're kind of stressed. They're not getting the mineral uptake they need, because I got some of the older leaves are showing some signs of mineral deficiencies, like a little bit of potassium deficiency. And there's also, I think, in general, the root systems on them got damaged, and so they're trying to recreate those. So they're putting a lot of effort into recreating it, and that's what this is supposed to correct. Long-winded story, but it's to try to save these plants and get them to the point where they can get some decent blooms for next spring. So, what do you think? You ready to go?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's like 25-mile-an-hour winds.
It's not a
That's not going to be
problem.
a problem in listening.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the 1 gallon sprayer and then we'll take it down to the ranunculus. So let's take care of that and then we'll go down and show you applications and kind of wrap things up. Okay, going to take a brief sidetrack here in the middle of the video to explain some important things. So let's do it. Okay, we did a little bit of talk about, what it looks like after 3 days, but I wanted to insert this little chat of a caveat in here about things. Now, a lot of people, when they look at salt and salt being applied, they get kind of freaked out. And you know what? Honestly, I was too when I first started with this. The idea of putting salt on my plants or putting salt that might end up in my soil seemed like maybe that would be something that would be really bad. And it's kind of like this, is anything used to an excess can go from therapeutic to toxic. So in this case, what we're doing is the dilution rate of the sodium chloride, which is the salt portion of the sea salt, is down to less than 1/10 of 1% by the time you get a gallon of this made. And then the LAB will act on it a bit too, so it would be maybe even a little bit lower. But the majority of what we're trying to get to is these micronutrients, the other minerals, the other 5% of that sea salt solution that has things in it like magnesium and calcium and phosphorus and all the other micronutrients, like some of them I can't even pronounce. And that's the key to what we're doing. We're getting this thing in a soluble, dissolved state and using the LAB to put it into the plants. But honestly, if you use this stuff all the time, you decide, oh, this was great, I got a great response, and then every week I keep doing it, you're going to eventually get to a point where it's not going to give you any benefit. It's just like any medicine or anything you use to make things better. There's always a point where it goes from saying, that's enough, to, oops, too much. And so this is something that we use as a tonic. It's not something as a regular fertilizer to apply or that kind of situation that you would put in your water all the time. The whole point on this is to give the plants, that were in a weakened state, a boost so that they'll can resume their growth patterns in the vegetative state. This doesn't do too much more for you outside of the vegetative state and the fruiting state. If you applied this solution too when things were fruiting, like you applied it to tomatoes, you would probably end up getting a sweeter tomato. As a matter of fact, there's many studies that have been done at university level is showing that cherry tomatoes and tomatoes in general benefit from a small amount of sea salt being added into their irrigation water. So there's all kinds of studies out there that show that there are therapeutic levels to using sea salt and seawater, but you can quickly, if you just keep applying too much of it, go way into the negative. So it's just a safety tip here is this is to be used, when the plants look like they need a boost. That's the whole point. So back to our regular programming.
Wait. Another
What?
comment.
Another comment.
Another comment that we get all the time is, can you use chlorinated water? For our sake of this question comes up so many times, we are on a well.
Yeah, we don't have city water.
We don't have city water. We don't have chlorinated water. We have well water.
Right. So if you're using well water, rainwater, or water that has been dechlorinated through either some kind of osmotic filter or something, that's fine. The whole point of when the municipalities are chlorinating water or using amines or chloramines and things like that to sanitize the water is they want to kill the bacteria. We, on the other hand, are trying to take specific bacteria, lactobacillus, and grow it up. So yeah, it's very important not to use municipal water unless you've had it where you can no longer smell or taste any of the chlorine or anything of that nature. And a lot of people do things like they'll aerate it through a bubbler, for 24 hours, or they'll, just leave it out for 24 hours in the fridge, and it dechlorinates and basically off gases. And at that point, you're probably fine to go ahead and use it.
We could be picking up buckets of rainwater right now.
Yeah, we live.
Right now, it's raining.
It's raining pretty good now, but that's not to take away from other people who have other weather problems. So.
Right. It's just to say when we talk about water, it's well water.
Yeah, it's non-chlorinated, non-municipal water.
Right.
So that's an important thing. Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll take that as a no. So let's get back into the video. Okay, these guys here, this ranunculus on this side as well as what we have on the other side, were the ones that were most severely damaged. We had a number of them on both sides that I'd say were about, well, probably more than half of them ended up getting dug out, kicked out, and they ended up being replanted. We lost a lot of the leaves that were damaged at the time, and some of them, as you can see, like right here is a classic example where they got nubbed off. They're starting to grow back. Some of the other plants though are still pretty weakened, and what you can kind of see is like these older leaves, they're senescing out, but we do have some newer leaves coming in. And some of the older leaves, as they're starting to go, you can see that they're just having trouble taking up enough nutrients to really grow strongly. So that's what this LAB, fermented seawater, the whole point of it is to give them a little extra kick with some biostimulant, some LAB, plus the minerals from the sea salt again. And it's like I got a classic one over here which has absolutely nothing on it, but it does have a new leaf coming on, and then you can see the yellowing of the leaves on the lower, the older leaves. That's kind of an indicator that it's having trouble getting enough nitrogen into its system, and these are all just like functions of the fact that the root systems were so damaged. Growth in general, being December, is usually pretty slow this time of year too, so these guys are probably they're going to take a while to come out of it. So we're going to give them this application now, and then we'll watch and see if they start growing again in any kind of serious way. We may end up, giving them another dose of fertilizer in January, and we'll see what it looks like at the end of January if we need to do another dose of the fermented seawater too. So this is all foliar. And what we're going to do is just make sure that we coat each plant. Make sure I got enough pressure in here. And it's not going to be too much. It's just enough to coat the plant leaves and around the crown. Let's see if I got this right. There we go. I'm not going to worry too much about the older leaves. It's really trying to get to the center of the plant that I'm really concerned about. And so it's just a matter of getting them all, a good dosing of it.
You didn't need to dilute this, correct?
No, that's the whole point on this. The fermented seawater is already diluted. So what we're trying to do is put the and the biostimulant's already diluted. The FPJ was already diluted. So we cultured up the additional LAB. We put 5 mils in when we started. It grew on for 3 days. So that's the whole point, is the LAB is now a pretty good population of it. And I think that's just the key to it, is to help it get these minerals and the biostimulants into the plant. As you can see, we're having a little bit of wind today. So this tunnel is kind of facing the way the wind is coming, so we're getting a bit of a blowback in the back of the tunnel, since we have the front of it open, so we're trying to get air flow through here without trying to destroy too many things. So this is really it. It's pretty simple. you know, we went through the first. Be sure to check out the first video. This is part 2. Shows you how we went about making it, and it's just a really simple biostimulant and a good use of your LAB. So, I guess at this point, unless you have any questions, can you think of any?
Once again, this is not what we would do this time of year if we didn't have a problem.
Normally this time of year,
We just let
really
things,
low on the fertility side of
just
things.
let things go.
Just let it go, yep. But we got some serious damage here. So anyway, I'm going to get on it, and want to thank you guys for watching the 2 parts of this, and I hope this helps you out, gives you some ideas of how to apply this. You can use this on veggie too. You know, so it all works kind of the same. Plants are plants, you know, whether they're flowers or veg. So kind of, you know, think that through. If it's something that maybe give your plants a little extra mineral boost.
Especially when it gets closer to warming up and becoming springtime.
Yep, true. Okay, well, everybody, stay safe. We'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.